of the description in 1 Kings of Solomon's reign. So there's several chapters in which he talks about his conquest. He talks about his building projects, the way that he brought glory to the nation. The queen of Sheba came and visited and extolled his wisdom, certainly highly and more than she expected from what she was told, those sorts of things. And so we are now in chapter 11 is basically how Solomon falls on his face after all that. We say it that way. Is that nice enough? That's nice enough. How he turns from God. Remember that was explicitly in 1 Kings described as being the result of many foreign wives. Now, the Pentateuch anticipates this being a problem for kings. There's two main problems that are addressed, right, for kings, and that is too many horses and too many wives. I won't speculate as to the category in the ancient world as the difference between horses and wives, but they were both supposed to be a problem for the king. No mention of foreign wives. It was just wives. So foreign wives are that much worse when you have 1,000 of them in this case, because they lead his heart astray, right? He does things that he's not supposed to do. He accommodates their worship in ways that they're not supposed to. He participates in basically all of them, all of the syncretic forms of worship, except for one. Do you remember which one it wasn't? Anybody? What was the most abhorrent one? At least to me. Molech? Yeah, Molech. It says explicitly excludes him from participating in the worship of Molech, which was the one that they, at least in one form of Molech worship, they created a brass idol, the furnace, and actually put their children into the arms of that furnace as a form of human sacrifice. So he did not do that, to his credit, granted, but has a problem. So God decides that there's going to be consequences for this. Remember that there were two covenants regulating the Davidic dynasty. One was given to David regarding the Messiah, right? The one righteous man that would rule in perpetuity as a fulfillment of the Abrahamic covenant. The other was given to David later in his monarchy, and it was essentially that it was conditional. It's the application of the Mosaic covenant, and that covenant said that as long as your descendants obey, as long as your descendants walk with the Lord, as long as they keep my statutes and commandments, then each one individually has the right to occupy the throne. Those are technically two separate things, because what David was promised is no matter what, no matter who rules from your day to the Messiah's day, the Messiah is coming. That's unconditional. The Messiah will fulfill that Abrahamic covenant. That's the nature of an unconditional covenant. The other one had to do with every generation. And so Solomon, remember, was told that there's never been anyone like you, and there will never be anyone like you again. Generally speaking, a positive statement regarding him, but immediately, right, we have a confrontation that's going on in the text. So Jeroboam is the guy. You remember Jeroboam, the name, the son of Nebat, right? It says here in verse 26, an Ephraimite, Solomon's servant. And we can go down this. He was a valiant warrior. He was a guy, he was industrious, et cetera, et cetera. He had to flee, right? So my wife left me a note, and she left, that we were in verse 37 is where we stopped. It's kind of a weird place to stop, but I did apparently. So here we go. I will take you, this is God talking to Jeroboam. I will take you, and you shall reign over whatever you desire, and you shall be king over Israel. Then it will be, if you listen to all that I command you and walk in my ways and do what is right in my sight, by observing my statutes and my commandments, as my servant David did, then I will be with you and build you an enduring house as I built for David, and I will give Israel to you. Now, that's not the same as a perpetual house, right? Oh, man. TV reboot again? That's not even my computer. The TV is rebooting. It's done it twice now. We'll let it ride. I'll try to reconnect here in a second. You have your Bibles, don't you? All right, because we're a caveman Bible church around here. We can put it on a screen, but I expect you to have a Bible in front of you if you're a grown-up. All right, because that's what you need to do. I don't care if it's electronic or whatever. I prefer paper myself because I'm a conspiracy theorist, right? Y'all been paying attention to how words are changing on the online dictionaries for the last 5 years. You would also, plus they're not going to let us have phones in prison, and the time is coming, folks. So when you'll just be in prison for believing in Jesus again one day. Everybody thinks that Trump is going to keep that from happening. Don't bet on it. All right. Okay. Becky thinks that's funny. I don't think it's funny. The government always does that to people. Goes all the way back to the Roman Empire, man. No matter what goes on. I forget the quote. It's something about whether the waters of the river rise to the shores or this, that. It's always the Christians to the lion, the Christian to the lions. Always. Human government always does it. Always. There's no righteous government but Jesus' government. Just so you know. Y'all can laugh about it if you want. Anyway, so regardless, enduring house, not the same as a perpetual house, right? But it is a stable, an established house. He's saying this, it's going to be, you're going to have my blessing, right? This is one thing that we don't really, I think we don't realize that that being a monarch is a dangerous place to be. That's why they don't trust their brothers. They kill their parents. They do things throughout the world history. Monarchs would do terrible things to people that they should be able to trust because they can't trust anybody. So Jeroboam is being given confirmation that this is God's design and God's plan. So I'll take the kingdom from his son's hand and even to his tribe. I'll build you an enduring house. Thus I will afflict the descendants of David for this,